Holy crap, what a mind freak that episode was. Whew. First off, it starts with Mycroft being tortured by Sherlock in the most horrific horror movie-esque experiments. I mean, it was horrifying. I mean, with the clown and the bleeding paintings and the little laughter. I mean, that was a Stephen Moffat's writing reminiscent of some Doctor Who, the early episodes with like the mannequins and the kids with the gas mask and the really creepy stuff. Very well played out in the show. Definitely a cool little aspect of it, but that's how it starts off. So we're only going to know it's going to get freakier from there. So then we find out that Sherlock does indeed have a sister, and that she has been imprisoned in this impenetrable fortress of a prison in the middle of the ocean since she was 10 years old. So after a series of events that involves 221 Baker Street exploding, and Watson, Mycroft, and Sherlock barely escaping with their lives, they end up going to visit the sister in the island, and we know that she's escaped because obviously from the last episode. And then we have a series of flashbacks from Mycroft, which we find out that Eurus and Moriarty have been collaborating for the past 5 years. That's some scary stuff. So we do find out that Sherlock's sister is so intelligent that she can manipulate people just by talking to them for a few moments. So since she's been in this prison, she has literally brainwashed everyone in it. So a bunch of stuff hits the fan, and Sherlock, Mycroft, and Watson wake up in a prison cell, and they're playing this like Saw-esque game, and a bunch of people die. There's some really touching moments between Sherlock and Molly and the phone. There's also supposedly a girl on a plane that's flying across London, and it's about to crash because she's the only one on it that's awake. So the game really involves, you know, going from room to room, and there's like little challenges, plus they have to keep this girl calm because they're on the phone with her and try to figure out where she is or how to help her from, you know, crashing and killing a bunch of people that are on the plane, and or crashing into the city and killing a bunch of people on the plane and in some sort of building or something like that. So on the last game, in the last room, Sherlock needs to choose between shooting Mycroft or shooting Watson. And there's a bunch of dialogue, there's some really good feels involved, and then Sherlock decides to call a bluff and attempts to commit suicide. Now, Eurus doesn't like this, so she basically shoots them all with a sleeping dart, and that's the end of that. So Sherlock wakes up in the middle of this room, and come to find out that they're in the old house that Eurus burned down when she was younger, and this is also where Redbeard, the dog, apparently is buried, and it's all types of craziness goes down. So we find out that Eurus has a split personality. She's actually the girl on the plane. We find out that Redbeard isn't a dog, but is in fact Sherlock's best friend from when he was younger, and he's still dead. He was trapped in a well. He is trapped in the same well that John Watson is now trapped in via Eurus and the sleeping darts and whatnot, and is slowly drowning. So after Sherlock finally figures it out in one of the only moments of the visual Sherlockiism, he finds Eurus, and they have a touching brother-sister moment, and they save John, and yada yada yada, and that's the end of the episode. And at the end of the episode, like a persistent ghost, Mary pops up again in a DVD, a very conveniently placed DVD, and it's, you know, more touching moments, but it kind of like it sums up and caps off the series, I guess. I'm not sure if they're going to make any more seasons, but it seemed like that was very final. So there's a ton to take in on the episode, and it definitely deserves a couple of rewatches, but here's my initial thought. I didn't really like it as much as I thought I was going to. You know, I know they were trying to humanize Sherlock, but, you know, in this whole episode, he just felt really stupid. You know, there wasn't that Sherlockian element that we've grown and love about the series. It was rarely there. And, you know, I don't get it. even Mycroft, who was supposed to be the smarter brother, was acting like a fumbling idiot through the whole episode. There was no great deduction. There was no intelligent definitions behind things. It just seemed, I don't know, they seemed like three normal people in some sort of crazy challenge. And, you know, it felt really rushed. You know, the writing just didn't feel like it was there. I mean, come on, the whole bit with the missing glass on the cell, I mean, that's Sherlock's shtick, for Christ's sakes. Sherlock should have known that when he talked to the guard before he even got into the room. I mean, that's the type of deductions that we've grown in love to this series, and it was missing. You know, he should have picked up on that in moments, but it wasn't. It was just like he was a normal person. There was just nothing going on in his head. You know, it just felt like the writing and the visuals were lazy in this episode. Although I could be comparing it to the last episode, The Lying Detective, which was phenomenal and it was everything that we hoped and loved, but I don't know. I can't really tell if it's just me or if it was actually rushed. I'd like to hear your thoughts and comments on that. So I did appreciate the story for all its twists and as being a very entertaining story. I am being very critical on it. And on more thought, you know, I think maybe Stephen Moffat might have been, you know, I think he wrote himself into a wall. You know, he has exhausted all of the Sherlockian creativity and all of the things that you would normally associate with Sherlock. Like, there's not much more he can do. And I think he was just archery methoding his way through some new content and trying to be creative. And I think he missed on this episode. You know, I thought he might have hit it last episode with The Lying Detective, but I don't know. Just doesn't seem like it's consistent anymore. I think the series is done. It's written itself off. It's done everything it thinks it should do, and I think we need to put an end to it and move on. You know, maybe put some more stock in the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock coming forward. Hopefully, I actually do think there is a fourth movie coming out pretty soon. So to sum off the season, it looks like 2 out of 3 of the episodes were on the meh side of Sherlock. You know, we got one great episode with The Lying Detective, the first episode, The Six Thatchers. Yeah, it was alright. And this one was, you know, equally as alright. Maybe a little better than The Six Thatchers. And, you know, I had to put that in the order. I would say that The Lying Detective was definitely one of the best episodes of anything that I've really seen. This one, The Last Problem, was second best, and The Six Thatchers was the third best. The worst, I guess. And I guess we'll see if there's going to be a season 5. I actually hope there isn't, because I just don't think there's much more that we can do with this. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. If you've enjoyed this, please like and subscribe. It helps the channel out greatly. And I hope you have a good morning, evening, or afternoon.